Hello, everyone. Welcome to the HVAC Insider Series brought to you by Breezy. I'm your host, as always, CJ Todd. Every month, we're bringing you a new HVAC expert to share cutting-edge strategies, cheat codes, and hacks designed to give your business a competitive edge it needs. We'll cover topics like boosting sales, enhancing your marketing, mastering pricing. But today, we're really honing in on a topic that I think a lot of you are interested in, and that's achieving time and money freedom away from the day-to-day operations of your HVAC business. So before we get into that, let me just go ahead and go through a couple of housekeeping items for you. We will be recording this session and we'll get that out to you a couple hours after the end of the session. I really want this to be an interactive, engaging experience. So please, if you can, mute your cell phones, close your office door, and let's jump in that chat and really make sure that, throughout today's session, you're putting in some questions, some feedback. So I would really love to try that right now. Let's type in what your favorite thing to eat on Thanksgiving is, since we're going to get into that next week. Stuffing, yeah, me too. Awesome. Pie. What kind of pie, Brigham?
Cherry pie, lemon meringue pie,
All the pies.
banana cream pie.
Dude, banana cream pie. That's it.
Did I say cherry pie already?
All the pies. Cool. Well, we'll get into all the fun stuff we like to eat. But for today's session, make sure that you go down into the resources tab at the bottom of your screen, and you'll see a Pattern for Excellence poster. You can download that, and also a digital copy of Brigham's book, Something to Give. So I'd like to kick it back to CEO of Breezy, Sean, to give you a little bit of a rundown about what we're doing today.
Yeah, how's it going, everybody? Thanks for joining. My name's Sean Ritchie. I'm the CEO of Breezy. Essentially, we're a service titan alternative built exclusively for HVAC, plumbing, and electrical companies. Here at Breezy, we've got a two-pronged mission, right? On a micro level, we want to eliminate off seasons for our clients. But in a macro sense, a big goal of ours is to free up the time, energy, and resources, really for business owners to be able to work on their businesses versus in their businesses. So with that, yeah, we're pumped to, bring this session with Brigham to everyone's doorstep. Brigham's an awesome guy. He's got, an awesome story and a mindset of service overall, right? Serving people, serving businesses, serving his community. So today, I think he'll cover a lot of tactical lessons that, from what I've seen, really transcend just like selling more, right? I think instead it's focused on being a more deliberate leader, living a more deliberate life. So really excited to bring some of those lessons. And with that, I'll kick it over to CJ for the full intro. If anybody's interested in learning more about Breezy, again, today's mostly about Brigham, but, if you want to learn more, just type Breezy into the chat and somebody from our team will be in touch. So hope everybody enjoys.
Yeah, thanks, Sean. I'm really excited to introduce you to today's guest, Brigham Dickinson. He's the founder of Power Selling Pros, and he's worked with over 1,000 service businesses nationwide to help them become better leaders, to create a powerful CSR and dispatching departments that really becomes a profit center for their business, not just phone answerers. He's the author of 3 incredible books, one of which I mentioned he's going to give away for free today. So you can click down below in the resources tab and download Something to Give. And he's really been a personal mentor and inspiration to me throughout my career. His enthusiasm and his passion for this industry is just so contagious. And anybody that welcomes Brigham in and his support, like, there's no way they cannot flourish. So without further ado, help me introduce the man, Brigham Dickinson.
Oh, wow. That's quite an intro. I appreciate that. So guys, we're going to be talking about some ways to get out of the rat race. Not totally out. Believe it or not, it's not as fun as you think it is to be completely out. So the journey itself is a whole lot more fun, more exciting. sometimes it can be tiring. It's hard to go through the ups and downs, but it's funny how when you look back on it, you always wish, oh my gosh, if only, if I could have, maybe if I kept on to it, doing it for a little bit longer, all that stuff, right? And the reason why is because it's fun. You're always doing something. There's always something you got to do, something that needs to be done. People need to be taken care of. So if you invest the time today, not just being here physically, but being present emotionally, putting your phone away, maybe throwing it in a drawer, it could impact your life. It could change your life. So that's what I'm excited about. So with that, why don't we go ahead and jump into this, CJ? So yeah, I've got 1,100 companies that we work with. We train CSRs one-on-one twice a month using their own phone calls. It's ongoing coaching accountability, and it's 4 levels of certification. It takes about 1.5 years to complete. It's a bit of a university, but by the time that CSR, dispatcher, lead coordinator is done, they are booking calls, they are wowing customers, they are making sure you're the only one going out to the customer's home. So it's a fantastic product and program. It's something we've been doing for the last 15 years. Our CSRs are guaranteed to book at least 85% of their calls and actively sell service agreements over the phone. We also have a FAM program. It is a great support to every CSR manager that is out there. If you're managing dispatchers, lead coordinators, CSRs, and you find yourself just inundated and exhausted, not able to work on your department because you get sucked up into it, the FAM program is there to help gamify your department, get everybody excited about coming to work on Monday, and just enjoy the role that they play inside the organization. So if you do coaching with us, but you're not part of the FAM program yet, reach out to your coach and ask about the FAM program for sure, because it's awesome. We 3 years ago started a call handling company of our own. We had several clients come to us and say, "Hey, you guys are doing great teaching our team how to answer the phones. Why don't you just answer the phones directly?" And we finally took that advice, and now we have a team of 65 people who answer phones. They book calls, they wow customers. Right now, they have a current call conversion, an average call conversion of 93%. So the stuff works, right? And they are also actively selling club memberships over the phone, making sure you're the only one going out to the customer's home and creating wow experience after wow experience after wow experience with the homeowner while they're on the phone with them. So that's what we do here at PowerSling Pros. Enough about me. So do you ever feel trapped in day-to-day operations? Do you ever feel like you're stuck? And it's not just 8 hours a day. In fact, you might wish that it were 8 hours a day, right? If only it could be 8 hours a day, but it's 10, it's 12, it's 13. Maybe it never ends, right? You go to sleep and you dream about it. If that's where you're at, well, this message is for you. Our goal is to gain control over your life, get your life back. Whole reason why you started a business in the first place. So I realize that there are some of you that for whatever reason, you don't have the financial freedom that you thought you'd have when you first started this thing. This message is definitely for you guys. All right. So buckle up for that. And so also for those who've been able to get their company going, they're at about 5 million, maybe a little bit more, but they're still feeling kind of stuck, right? The money's there, right? They have the bigger house, they have the nice car, but you're not totally there yet because you feel like at the minute you leave, it's not going to function the way that you want it to. This message is also for you guys. And it's also for those that are doing even a little bit better, but not quite sure where to go next. So it's for everybody. I've got a good friend. He is a wizard in the industry. He's been around for a very long time. His name is Jim Henshaw. Phenomenal guy. In fact, he's the sales director at Service Nation, well-to-nerd affinity group that trains companies. And Jim is a mentor of mine and a good friend. It's someone that if you can get him to tell you a story, stop, listen, be present to that moment, because that story will touch you. It will motivate you to be a better person. So that's the type of individual that Jim Henshaw is. There was one time where at a Service Nation event, he got up on stage and he showed 4 cycles of business growth. And I'll show you the first one right here. This next slide. So freedom over money, right? So he comes up on the stage with a technician's hat on, a shirt, some tools, and he began to explain his environment as, basically chucking it in a truck, right? He is starting his own business. He had just quit his job, and he is pumped. He's excited. He's full of energy and green in every way whatsoever, and he's just going for it. He's going for it in the home service industry, and his goal is to gain freedom over his finances, freedom over his money, and as you begin this process, that's where you start. That's where you begin. And then you jump into the second stage, right? Where you figured out how to make a little extra money. You're writing yourself checks. It's starting to kind of feel like monopoly money. You're like, wow, this is crazy. I actually have some extra money here, but time is a little bit more difficult, right? So your goal now, even though you do have some financial freedom, you also need to get your time back, at least a little bit more time than you currently have. And that's kind of where you get stuck. And what's funny about Jim Henshaw is he'd run off the stage, change his clothes, and then run back up onto the stage, a little bit nicer button-up shirt like this and some nice slacks, a clipboard, same thing, just the way he did it and the way he described his environment and how things changed up a little bit. And then, of course, he runs off the stage again. Let's go ahead and go to our next slide. He comes back on the stage with, a little bit nicer suit, right? And he's a little bit more calm. He's a little bit more relaxed. He's a little bit older, right? He's more thoughtful in his words and what he says and how he says it, because at this point, it's about building a legacy, right? You've gotten to the point where you're a 10, you're a 20, or maybe a $30 million, maybe you're even $100 million shop, and you're deciding what to do next. And what's funny about this is that everybody that gets to this point, and I've had so many conversations with Ken Goodridge and with Paul Kelly and all the Alan Givens and all the rest, right? All the guys that have done this and have gotten to this point and try and decide whether they should stay in it or whether they should exit or what have you. And it's always a very difficult decision. No matter how successful they become, it's a very difficult decision. There was one time I was talking to Ken, and I mentioned to him that when I got a CEO over my company back in 2022, I thought that's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to get a company running by itself and then stop and then go and do something else. And so I got the CEO, and the company was doing great. In fact, it was on track to grow by about 10%. Not huge, not amazing, but still growing. And as soon as I relinquished that last responsibility, I can remember looking at the wall, because literally the day before I was answering phone call after phone call after phone call. Hey, let's get this done. Hey, let's go and get that done. I went from the man to crickets. It was one of the most anticlimactic things I've ever experienced. I shared that with Ken. He's like, dude, I feel the same way. Now, my business compared to his business, apples and oranges, but the same feeling was there. The sense of loss, the lack of celebration, all the things that we worked so hard to achieve. And yet, once we got there, it wasn't all that great. It wasn't all that fun. It was actually more fun being in the fire, going for it, making things happen. So you've got to be thinking about these things at each stage of the game and deciding what your plan is, because you're not dead. And if you're not dead, you've got to have a very good plan as to what you're going to do next. All right, let's go ahead and jump to the next one. Oh, yeah. The thing that we all want to do. Okay. Again, for guys like us that are able to get to this point, we're going to have fun in those Bermuda shorts for about 3 days, tops. And then we're going to start looking around going, the freak. You know, there's only so many sandy beaches. It just isn't what it's cracked up to be. And we're going to talk about why that is. But for now, let's just look at those cycles. Okay. It's the journey. My whole point here is it is the journey. And it doesn't matter where you're at in the journey, you're in a good spot. You're in a great spot. And you've got to look at it that way. Because the hard times, when you look back on them, are the times where the most growth and progress happen for you.
Brigham,
All right, let's go ahead.
I would love to hear from the audience. What stage are you in? I'm hoping that we're all in the Bermuda shorts, but probably not so much.
I'm not sure they'd be here. Hey, I'm gonna stop what I'm doing to go watch Brigham talk about me. That's funny. Cool. 7 ways. Okay. I'm going to give you 7 ways to help you get through these 4 stages. All right. So you can be wherever you want to be. All right. We're going to create a service business that runs without your day-to-day involvement. All right. Cool. Let's jump in. Let's do the first one. Leadership mindset. Okay. It's number 1 for a reason. Oh, this is where we're going to give you the book, right? Isn't that right, CJ? I'm gonna just go with that. Okay. Well, maybe we give the book later. You guys are gonna get this book, right? At least a digital version. Maybe I've let the cat out of the bag. But yeah, there's a quote in there. I feel kind of weird quoting myself in a book, you know. But anyway, there it is. This leadership journey is making you better and more useful to others. You're transitioning from being someone who must prove to someone who must give. It's not about you anymore. It's about your people. So let me tell you the reason behind this quote, the reason why I shared it. I wanted to, I do Spartan racing. I don't know if you guys have ever done a Spartan race, but it's an obstacle course race on trails. So you're right. In fact, I'm doing one in a couple days. Hopefully my hand's feeling okay. I messed up my hand the other day and hopefully I can grip everything and get through it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't care. So in 2019, I had a goal to podium at a Spartan race. And I was pretty excited about it. In fact, one of the races that I did, I invited a bunch of business owner friends. And one of them owns a heating and cooling company in Utah. His name is Crandall. The best guy you'll ever meet. He also is, I believe, over 6'5". He used to be probably 250 pounds. But for this race in 2019, he said, "Hey, Brigham, I want to do this race." And of course, all the other business owners were excited about it. And the reason why they all want to do it, I think, is because we were going to Hawaii for the race. Possibly, right? And so I said, "That sounds great. That sounds good." And so we started training for this race. And then Crandall said, "Hey, Brigham, I want to do it too." In the back of my head is going, "Oh, crap, Crandall, dude, if you do this race, you're going to die." And I kind of hinted that it'd probably be better if he were to watch it. And he didn't like that at all. He's like, "I'm not going to sit there and watch you guys finish a race. Brigham, tell me what to do and I'll do it." And so I gave him a little training regimen. He followed it. And in fact, he ended up losing 40 pounds for this race. It was pretty amazing. I was still a little concerned about him. And remember, this year I had my own goals, right? I wanted to podium. I wanted to get first, second, or third. And there was a lot of reasons for that. When I first started racing in 2019, there was these guys at the front of the race, and they were kind of, giving each other high fives and bro hugs, and some of them were taking knees and doing one of those Rocky Balboa type prayers. And I was just like, dude, these guys all know each other. They've seen each other all these races. And I thought, man, they seem like a really cool group of guys. And I thought to myself, all right, well, I'm just going to have to earn their respect by beating them. And so that's kind of what initially motivated me to get on the podium, figure out whatever I need to do to get on the podium. So I got a nutritionist and a trainer and worked really, really hard. Did 10 races in 2019. I'm just going to tell you real quickly what happened. I ended up taking fourth twice that year. I was so close to getting on the podium, but never really quite made it. And so on this one in particular race, things were different because of Crandall, because of everybody else that was on the team that was going to be on that race. And so I get through my race. I started my race at 8:30 in the morning, and he started his race at 10:30 in the morning, 2 hours later. I finished my race. I grabbed some fluids. I get over the fact that I took fourth, and I get back out there on the field. And you guys, usually when I do a Spartan race, I'm exhausted. But my team was out there. My people were out there, and I wasn't going to leave them out there alone. I was going to make sure everybody got in, especially Crandall. And so I run back out there after grabbing some fluids. I get to the 5 mile mark, and I see Crandall coming through the trees, and he looked ragged already. And I was like, dude, Crandall, what's going on? He's like, hey, man. And he said, I started with the rest of the team. I said, well, you've got to be the last one that going through this part of the race. And he's like, thanks for bringing that up. And I realized I shouldn't have said that. And so I said, don't worry about it. I'm going to meet you back here at the 8 mile mark, which is a bit of a loop from the 5 mile mark to the 8 mile mark. And we'll go in together. So I sat there and waited at the 8 mile mark. And remember, he started at 10:30 in the morning. He didn't get to the 8 mile mark until 5 in the evening. Exhausted. When he finally got there, he said to me, I can't believe you're still here waiting for me. Of course, in my mind this time, I agreed with him. I was like, yeah, this is kind of crazy. And he said, Brigham, I'm done. Where's the go-kart? Now, what he doesn't know is that go-kart had already left, taking 2 other people off the race. And I was like, go-kart? What are you talking about? There's no go-kart. There's only one way off this trail, bro. You through the finish line. Let's go. And he was like, nah, Brigham, I'm done. I said, no, you're fine. You're still upright. Let's finish this together. Let's go. And I just talked him through each step of the race, each part of it. At one point, when I said, hey, we're almost there. We're just going to go over this hill. And he said, Brigham, stop it. I don't believe you. I don't think this race is ever going to end. And we get to the very end of that race. And he sees the finish line. He begins to hear the other business owners that we were with cheering him on. And it was something like out of a movie. He starts sprinting. I could hardly keep up with him. He gets across the finish line. All the business owners are there. All of our friends are there, just patting him on the back and just kind of circling and just congratulating him for a job well done for finishing the race. And then he stopped. He turns around. He puts his hand on my shoulder and he says, hey, Brigham. I said, what's that? He said, I got to tell you something. And he said, I never planned to finish. And I said, what are you talking about? You never planned to finish. He said, yeah, I trained for 8 miles. I figured 8 miles was good for my first Spartan race. Thank you for helping me finish. You guys, the way I felt in that moment was worth 1,000 podiums. Now, I've won Spartan races many times since then. And, you stand on the podium, you get your medal, you take pictures. It's not a big deal. The biggest deal, the most important time was when I was there for Crandall. I realized in that moment that it's not just about winning that makes me happy. It's about the people I bring with me to the finish line. You see, when I transitioned my mindset, my motivation from proving myself, constantly proving myself, to giving of myself, that's when I became a better leader. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to the next slide. So the first thing you've got to do from a leadership standpoint, right, from leadership mindset, is you've got to be the painter and not the paint. If you are stuck doing the same thing every day, you're stuck. It's great. You probably do great. It probably looks great, right? Just like a very beautiful painting. The painting's beautiful. But once you are paint that dries on a picture, you're stuck. You're stuck there. And many of you might be feeling that way. But if you're building a business, you can't get stuck. You've got to keep moving, okay? And the way that you keep moving is you got to transition your mindset, okay? The way you transition your mindset is you choose to be the painter. Now, the painter is different, okay? Because the painter can just put together a beautiful tapestry. But then he can go and do another one, and another one, and another one, and can be just as fulfilled, if not more fulfilled. So all you need to do is have the mindset that you're not going to be stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again. Anything you do over and over and over again, and for any more than 6 months, makes you the paint. Okay, don't be the paint. Be the painter. You're creating a beautiful business. You're building a beautiful business. Don't get sucked into it. Don't get stuck in one spot doing one thing for the business. Okay, remember, you're the owner. All right, next, vision. The way that you become the painter is you've got to paint the vision. Okay, vision consists of 3 things. It consists of a purpose, a mission, and a set of core values. Let's talk about the purpose first. Okay, your purpose is your North Star. The less words you can say it in, the better. It's that thing that you're constantly working towards, and it's bigger than any one individual. Okay, everyone knows that they should do this. Nobody knows how. Okay, it has to be more than about moving a box or installing a box. Okay, it's got to be bigger than that. We do much more than that. During certain times of the year, we are saving lives. Okay, if Zappos can make it more than about shoes, we can certainly make heating and cooling more than about staying hot or cold. So you got to get a little creative about what you're doing and how it serves everyone. And later on in this presentation, we'll talk about how that could work, or how we can make it so that it's bigger than any one individual. Okay, so that purpose will get your team going in the way that it needs to go. So mission statement. It is a tangible goal that you can achieve in 3 years or less. Okay, so purpose, North Stars, that thing you're always working towards. That doesn't change for 100 years. Mission, that's a very tangible goal that you're going after that you can achieve very, very quickly. Okay, so you got to have both. Here's our North Star. Here's why we're doing it. And the mission is, here's what we're doing. No matter what, we're getting this done, right? 3 years or less. Lastly, a set of core values. Okay, core values are your code of conduct. Most of the time, I don't see a set of core values inside of a heating and cooling company. For whatever reason, it's not there. And if it's there, it's usually stuck on the wall. Our goal is to get a set of core values that we can put in the hearts and minds of our team. All right, so what do we use? We use the pattern for excellence. We've been using this since we started the business, Power Selling Pros. It is 8 principles and 1 outcome. Create a wow experience for yourself because of the way that fulfills you, and a wow experience for the customer. Okay, so this is our set of core values, and we can talk about how to put it in the hearts and minds of your people. It basically is a tool that you use in all your hiring, training, and firing processes. You make sure it's there in all your emails, all of your correspondence with your team, whether it's on your website, whether it's on your brochures, whether it's on your agreements, whether it's on your iPad or your screen that you're using to do presentations. It's there. There's elements of it everywhere. And you're talking about whenever you discipline somebody, you're referring back to these things. Whenever you're getting feedback where you need to do better, these things are being referenced, because these are all the things we're constantly working towards. This is how we go about doing what we do. Okay, so purpose is your why, your mission is your what, and your principles, your set of core values, is your how. Okay,
Brigham, the purpose of us giving this away right now is you've honed these 8 principles over what, a decade, 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
So
Almost 20 years.
That's incredible. So if someone hasn't done the work to identify what their core values are, just download this in the resources and blow it up and put it on your wall.
Awesome. Yeah. So 4 principles above are your be principles: be positive, be prepared, be grateful, be valuable. And then below are your do principles: show the customer that you're listening, show them that you care, reassure them that they've called the right place. Make sure that you ask the right question, because questions create action. They encourage action. Good.
Brigham, one thing you said that I love, Netflix has like a talent deck that outlines their strategy for people. And one thing they reinforce that I've always been a fan of is your values. It's not what you put on like a coffee mug or paint on your wall, right? It's what you hire, fire, and promote by. So I kind of love that key takeaway that you really got to walk the walk, right? And not just do a one-time exercise where you write these down.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. Put it in their hearts and minds. Very good. Company culture. Okay. Once you have your company vision, purpose, mission, set of core values, it's now time to start working on that company culture. My good friend Johnny Covey, a fantastic author. He has a tool he calls the head to heart process. It is awesome. Let me briefly cover it now. So we choose our experience, right? Experience is what we think, feel, and do. And if that is true, and it is, then we have control over what we experience. We choose it. We choose it. And what that means is we can choose joy. We can choose not to be joyful. We choose to be angry. The minute we say, you make me so mad, that's just not true. Nobody can make you mad. You can choose to be mad based on what people do around you. You can choose to be sad, but it is always a choice. Okay. In certain circumstances, it's really hard not to be mad or sad, very hard, but we still choose it. So we have two operating systems. All right. One operating system in our head and the other operating system in our hearts. Okay. Now, when you're stuck in your head, there's only two ways to go. One is fight. Okay. In fight mode, you might feel angry. You might feel frustrated. There's certain emotions that come into play when you are in fight mode. Okay. When you are angry, there's a chemical that is released in your body. And that chemical needs time to get flushed out. It is a whole lot more than just counting to 10. You actually need to leave the situation for at least 20 minutes. That's about the time that it takes for you to flush those chemicals out. Guys, nothing good gets done while you are angry. Okay? Nothing good is said while you are angry. I wish I were good at this. I'm not. I'm still working on it. My wife, on the other hand, is incredibly good at this. You see, I have this very unique talent to do things that aren't very, how do I put this? It's just not very, I don't recognize that certain things that I do could actually affect what's going on for her, right? Her life, right? Considerate. Let's just use the word considerate. I could be more considerate. And there are times where she actually has to leave the situation and not say anything. Now, I could say, oh, that's just so passive aggressive. No, if I get her to say anything, she's going to regret whatever she said. So it's better just to let her go and come back to the situation because she knows that she might say something that she'll regret later on. Pretty amazing stuff for her to be able to do that. I am working on that. Now, flight is the other extreme, right? You go to the other side of that pendulum, and what you're feeling is high anxiety. Guys, a little bit of anxiety is fantastic. It's great. So this is how we get things done, right? Customer needs a part. We got to get a part out to them. We got to go. We got to move, right? We got technicians that are in need of things. We've got CSRs that need to get things done. We've got to go to the bank. We've got things to do, right? Little urgency is great. Excuse me. A little anxiety is great. A lot of anxiety, high anxiety, is not great. Okay. And there's a lot of things that cause high anxiety these days, you guys. You've got people who are dealing with more debt than they've ever dealt with before. You have people who marry a whole lot later on in life. And statistically, those who are married tend to be more successful than those who are not. It's just numbers, guys. And the numbers aren't lying. Those who are in good, healthy relationships do better financially. They have less stress. They have more social help and assistance. People aren't going to church like they used to. And they don't interact in social groups in general. And so there's a lot of things compiled that create high anxiety. Now, when somebody is dealing with high anxiety, does that affect your performance at work? The reason why I asked that question is because I know some of you are like, okay, but what does that have to do with us? Everything. Guys, if they're not going to church anymore and they're not going to social groups and they're not anxious to get into a serious relationship and they have more debt than they've ever dealt with before, chances are they're not going to be as happy as they need to be. And if they're not happy, that's going to affect their work. That means that the work environment is the last place. It's basically the only place where they can get all of these things: relationships, accomplishments, social assistance. All those things can happen at the workplace if we create the right environment. If we can create the right environment, we'll get the best performance out of our team. Okay, so a little anxiety, good. A lot of anxiety, not good for you, and certainly not good for them. All right, so how do we push them down into our hearts? Okay, we want to push them down into our hearts by keeping 3 commitments. And those 3 commitments are to be respectful, to be your best, accept your best, and the best of others, and be present. Okay, when you break one of these commitments, you will find yourself in your head very quickly. When you do not, when you do keep these commitments, you will find that you can work from a place of gratitude, a place of love. Now, here's what's cool about gratitude. When you think about what you're grateful for, it forces you to think about what is real. What is real, what is right, what is good. When you think about what is real, what is right, what is good, you can work from a place that's down here. Okay, you work with truth. Okay, truth is what you need in pivotal moments. You need to be working off your truth. You got to get out of your head and into where the truth begins and where it lies, where it is. Okay, so if you keep these commitments, being respectful to yourself and others, choosing to be your best, accepting the best of others, and choosing to be present in the moment so you can recognize what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Okay, so on the slide before, we were talking about culture. Okay, experience is what you think, feel, and do. Culture is what your people collectively think, feel, and do. And the way that you positively affect that culture, what they think, feel, and do, is with your company vision, that purpose, that mission, that set of core values. Okay, you're basically programming the culture. You're programming what they think, what they feel, and what they do with the vision. All right, so we cultivate a culture of service, of gratitude, of engagement, by getting everybody to agree that we're going to follow a set of core values. We're going to hire, we're going to train, we're going to fire in accordance with these core values. And we're all going to live by them, and we're all going to hold each other accountable to them. And when we screw up, and we will, it's important for us to own it, because it's going to be very hard for our team to own their mistakes if we're not owning our mistakes. Okay, we need to teach by example how they should live these core values, how they should live this vision. When you do this, when you proactively program the culture inside your office, what they think, what they feel, what they do, you will find that not only will they perform at a higher level, but you'll be able to retain them longer because of the way you make them feel. And that's our goal. All right. Now remember, you want to be the painter, not the paint. So we're going to begin to talk about how to delegate. Okay. 4 I's in delegation. The first I is less effective, you guys. Now, before we get into those I's, let me tell you what we're doing with these stickies. I'm going to give you a homework assignment. And here's your homework assignment. I want you, by the end of the day, to write down everything you do on a day-to-day basis. Every task from a business standpoint. Okay, your honey to-dos, they're yours. Okay, it is what it is. But at work, everything you do, list them out. Usually when I have business owners do this, they come up with about 20 to 30 to-dos they do on a regular basis. Take a stack of stickies and write each of those to-dos, one to-do, one task on each sticky. And then I want you to put it on your office wall. Is that annoying? Yes, it's meant to be. It's meant to be, because your job is to painstakingly take one of those tasks off your wall and in the hands of a capable employee. So how do you do that? It's very simple. You sit them down one at a time and have a meeting. And you ask them, hey, where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? Now, guys, this might be a scary question to some, because we're a little bit nervous about the ambitions of certain members on our team. Don't be nervous, because guess what? Whether you know or not, that's the direction they're going to go down. And if there's a chance they might leave the organization, start their own thing, don't you want to know that ahead of time? Don't you want to create a safe environment where you can figure that out? Now, once they say, hey, I want to start my own thing, and you guys, it's happened to me several times. I'll give you an example. Barry Gates. Barry Gates has been with me from the beginning. And about 3 years ago, he came to me, sat down, and we had a talk. I said, hey, where do you see yourself with Power Sling Pros in the next 3 to 5 years? And he said, well, Brigham, I'm ready to start my own business. Now, you guys, I can't lose Barry Gates. Okay. He's been with me from the beginning. He is indispensable in so many ways. And so I said, look, what if we started a business together? And he's like, you would do that? Of course I would do that. What do you have in mind, Barry? Well, our customers keep asking us about starting a call center. What if we started a call center split at 50-50? And I said, sounds like a good plan. Let's do it. So we started this business, and now we have an awesome call center with 65 people in it, booking 93% of their phone calls. And it's a company that has a waiting list of contractors anxious to get on board because they've never heard of a call center, a company that does overflow call answering nights and weekends and books at 93%. It's pretty crazy. And he does a phenomenal job, and it's a nice business for us. And he continues to push it. He's got a great team, and I'm very, very lucky to be able to keep Barry around. I have other examples, and I wish I were perfect at this, you guys. There are some eagles in my business that I've lost, eagles that have gone on to do great things. And I'm grateful for the time that they've invested in Power Sling Pros, for who they are, for what they're doing inside the industry and out. But I've also been able to keep just as much by doing things just like that, sitting them down, finding out what their dreams are, and seeing if we can get our dreams to align. And slowly but surely, I'm taking off those tasks that I have to do and giving them over to each of my employees. Now, there's 4 levels of delegation. The first 2 are not really effective, but it's a way to do it. The first level is to simply say, here's this task, you're doing it. Okay, that's level 1. Level 2, you give some instructions. You're not just going to give it to them, right? You're going to say, hey, look, here's what you do. Here's how you do it. Here are the reasons, the benefits behind it, and how it's going to increase your income, and it's going to be great. You're going to be fine. You're going to be great, right? That's also a little bit less effective way of delegating. Okay. Third level, now we're getting somewhere. Okay. This is something where the employee and you are kind of working together, right? We're talking about what you're feeling, what I'm feeling, what you want to do, what I would like to do, how we make those things kind of get aligned and on the same page. This way, your employee feels heard, they feel valued, right? You're working together to create it. All right. That's level 3. Level 4, very, very important. Allow independent decision making. Okay. We gave ourselves freedom to fail and keep going. The minute we look, remember when it was just us in that cycle, right? 4 levels. Whenever we failed, the customer didn't like us, or maybe we had to give money back, or maybe we never got their business again, and we failed, right? But did we quit? No, we didn't quit. We had the freedom to fail, learn from our failure, and keep moving forward. We want to create an environment where our employees have that same benefit, where to a certain extent they can fail every once in a while, but at the same time learn and grow with us. Okay, so those are the 4 levels of delegation. There's one more thing I got to tell you about delegating. I usually tell business owners that they can only keep one sticky. Well, the reason why I say only one sticky is because when I say 3 stickies, they usually keep 5 or 6 or 7. So I'm going to say 1 because I know that chances are you won't be able to give up all of them. there's probably a few that you're going to have to keep. And you know what? There might be 3 tasks that you want to keep, and that's okay. That's all right. Just make sure it's 3, no more than 3. Make sure that you're the best at these 3 and that it fulfills you, makes you happy. Okay, that's the sweet spot. That's where your company's going to grow the most. When you're spending all of your time doing that which you are the best at and have the most fun while doing. Okay, that's the business. That's the type of business that everybody wants. Okay, that's the type of business I'm in right now. It feels good. It's fulfilling. I'm happy. My family's happy. We're in a good spot. I have freedom over my time, freedom over my finances. It's a great place to be. It's a miraculous place to be. Get down to 3. That's your goal. Only 3 stickies on that wall. Okay, that's how that delegation map works.
That is the absolute number one key takeaway from this presentation, I believe, because that's where we all want to be. We want to be offering the most value to the marketplace, and we want to have the most fulfilled, happy life, and we want our family to have us. So if that's the one thing you take away, I would take away that.
Appreciate that. Yeah, great comment.
Brigham,
Yeah.
what do you say? In my experience, people tend to have 2 issues with delegation. One is they maybe just toss something over the wall and hope it gets done well. Or then there's the other end of the spectrum where it's, well, I can do this better myself. What do you say to that latter group that's maybe having trouble passing something off that they're good at?
Yeah. How did you get to be so good at it yourself? What was the journey you went through? And then the next question is who can do it? And how much space and time are you going to give them to learn to do it better than you? Now, if it's just as good as you, take it. But if you give them the time and space and your belief in them, your trust in them, who knows? They might surprise you and do it even better than you. I have team members that I can't do without. There's certain things that they do better than I can do. And some of them know it. and that's great. That's fine. Everybody wins. Everybody wins when they're in their sweet spot, the thing that they do better than anybody else. But you've got to give them space and time to do it. Hopefully that answers that question, Sean.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. Long-term relationships here. We're on the back end of this. Let's go ahead and, with employee. Okay, so we want to build the long-term relationships with our employees. Okay, Barry Gates, my little brother Nathan, can you believe it? I know nobody's ever heard of families working together in a heating and cooling business, right? Or in a home service business. It's just never happens. Never accepted. It happens all the time, and that's fine. But you've got to build long-term relationships. And the way that you do that is to adhere by that vision. Okay, company purpose, company mission, as well as a set of core values. And CJ's right. If you don't have your own core values at this point in the game, just embrace these. You want them to be positive. You want them to be well prepared, confident in what they're doing. You want them to actively listen to one another. Okay. Customer has a human emotion need. They want to feel understood, cared about, and reassured, right? They want to know that they belong. Guess what? So does every one of your employees. They all want to feel understood. They all want to feel cared about. They all want to feel reassured they called the right place. So what this means is you're not talking to them only when something goes wrong. Okay, and you might not think you do this, but if your only conversations are, hey, what's happening here? Hey, what's happening over there? Let's say you haven't talked to your employee in a week, and you go into their office and you say, hey, what's going on over here? What are you doing? You're killing the goose. Okay, pause, listen, right? Seek first to understand before being understood. Thank you, Stephen R. Covey. Empathize with them. Okay, that's how you show them they're of worth, especially when they share. There's one time I was talking to Lindsay, and I had a bunch of things on my brain that I needed to download because she writes down everything that I write, that I spew out, right? And this one time when I called her, I realized she wasn't doing great. Something was off. And so before I gave her my list of to-dos, I simply said, Lindsay, how are you? What's going on? And she said, you really want to know? That right there, that thing behind, do you really want to know? She does need to get off her chest in order for her to perform at her highest level. Whenever you catch yourself in a moment like that, the way that you seize that moment and get the most performance out of your team, out of that player, is you show them that you want to understand. You take that time. You see with people, fast is slow. You want to get something done? Slow down. Show them that you're listening. Show them that you want to understand where they're coming from. And then they're going to share that thing. And sometimes it's business, another coworker. Sometimes it's personal, something going on at home. Just listen. It's not going to take too long. Just listen. And then care. Oh my gosh, I can imagine what you're going through. And then simply look. It could be they need to hear that they're an awesome person to be around, that thing that they just experienced isn't true, isn't fair, not great, but that they belong, that they're in the right place. At least here and now in this environment, you belong and you're doing awesome. All that stuff from an emotional standpoint they need. And when you do that, they will begin to perform awesome at an awesome level. Okay, so they need it from an emotional standpoint. And that's what these principles are for. Okay, to remind us how we should be interacting with our team, because the way we interact with our team is how they're going to take care of customers. All right, next slide. Progress through service. Okay, you guys, let me give you an example. All right, as we get into the tail end of this, Hope Heating and Cooling. What an awesome company. They're a company in Oklahoma, and the owner of this company focuses in on a day of service once a month, whether it's doing the laundry for those who are in need, whether it's fixing a roof of a homeowner, whether it's fixing a dishwasher, whether it's fixing a refrigerator, anything that the homeowner needs, it is a free service once a month. And they all wear Hope Dealer shirts when they provide this service. And they've been doing it every month and started getting publicity. In fact, they don't do any advertising at all. All their advertising is done through PR from the local media channels. And they're growing their business. They're growing leaps and bounds because they all have this focus of hope and service. It's really a beautiful thing. And it definitely is progress and growth. It's an example of progress and growth through service. Okay, last but not least, exemplification is the greatest teacher. Now, Scottsdale, Arizona, awesome company, Larson Heating and Cooling. Jared and Jamie, the coolest people on the planet. They've built the best company culture. And I decided when they wanted to do another in-person training for their CSRs and their technicians that I would go. And I purposely scheduled it on my birthday, July 24th, earlier this year. And this is how I spent my birthday. Now, somehow they found out that it was my birthday when I was there doing the training. I wanted to keep it all secret, but I'm pretty sure one of my employees called in and let them know that it was my birthday. And they got me my favorite cake, which is red velvet cake. And I was sitting there training CSRs, and they come in with this cake and sing happy birthday. It was awesome. It was the coolest thing ever. I've never had anybody bring me cake and sing me happy birthday while I was working. And later on in the day, I had the opportunity to answer phones because I don't like to just train CSRs. I like to get, metaphorically speaking, my hands dirty and show them how to do it. There's only one way to show a group of CSRs the type of energy that needs to be had inside the call center. So when I go inside that call center after training on how to answer the phones, I go in there and show them what that energy looks like. And you guys, I can't sit when I'm in a call center. I am standing and I am pacing. Okay. And that's pretty hard to do when you only have so much cord to go back and forth. So I am wearing out the floor, going back and forth, answering phones, and my energy is just off the charts. And I'm I just want the customer to feel my energy and to feel my love for them, my concern for them. And there's one customer that called in. Her name is Sarah. She's a doctor. Her husband's a doctor. And now remember, this is Scottsdale, Arizona in July. Okay, 120 degrees outside. And Sarah calls in and she's frantic. And she had already had another heating and cooling company go out to her home and tell her that it's going to take 2 weeks to get a new system installed. Her system was 20 years old and it just went kaput. It was dead. And she was almost in tears trying to explain the dire need that she had. She has two small girls and cannot go without AC. And as she was describing her situation over and over again, and whenever a customer is describing the same situation over and over again, what they're really saying is, I need for you to understand me. I need for you to understand this situation here. And finally, I got to the point I just had to say, Sarah, I've got you. And then she stopped. She paused for a moment. And she said, but I know. And I said, Sarah, I've got you. And then she said, okay. I said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get a technician out there. We're going to get that system running. And she said, oh, no, it's not going to run. It's dead. And the other guy said it was dead. And I said, yeah, but I have a really awesome technician and you need AC right now. So we're going to bring that sucker back to life. That's the first thing we're going to do. Now, sight unseen, pretty risky thing to guarantee. In fact, the CSR manager was standing behind me going, what are you doing? I was willing to take the risk. I believe in my team. I believe in the technicians. We would make it work one way or the other. And she said, yeah, but I need a new system and I can't wait 2 weeks for it, Brigham. I said, I completely understand. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get that new system installed by this weekend. We'll have a comfort advisor come out, give you a price on a new system, and we'll do whatever we got to do to get it installed this weekend. And I get another tap on the shoulder from the CSR manager. The install department's completely booked for 2 weeks, Brigham. There's no way. And I looked and I once again told the customer that we're going to have something done, taken care of by the end of the week. So as soon as I disconnected with Sarah, CSR manager was giving me the stink eye, and I said, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. I walk into the install department, and the install department looked very busy. And I said, hey guys, how's it going? Oh, we're busy. We're so busy. Everything. Okay, cool. Here's the thing. And I started sharing Sarah's story, her plight, her situation. And they looked at the schedule again. And they saw an opening, a sliver in opening on Friday night where they could install that system. In fact, he asked me, well, how far away are they? And I said, 10 minutes tops. Of course, between you and I, it was probably 12, maybe 12 and a half. And he said, well, I think we could make it work. Okay, cool. Put her in, put her name in. Well, she hasn't even signed for a new system. She will. She's going to. It doesn't matter what the price is. Just put her in. I then go into the locker room and put on a technician uniform, jump into my car, drive out there. Technician's already out there on the scene. You'll notice that he's right there with his hand, right? He's going, what's up? Okay. When I first got there, he said, dude, this thing is dead. It's not gonna come to life again. Well, that's him. That's him and I taking a picture when he turned it on. I go to the front door. Sarah opens the door. She's like, it's working. That's amazing. That's awesome. Comfort advisor goes. And she goes over, gives her a price, and she signs on the dotted line for an $18,000 new system that was installed that weekend. Guys, sometimes, even though we are the painter, we got to get in there. We got to get our hands dirty, and we got to show our team how it's done. This is how it's done. This is how we do it in the call center. This is how we do it outside in the home. We do whatever we got to do to take care of as many customers as we got to take care of because they need it, because it's a service that they need, and because of how it makes us feel when we serve that way, going above and beyond. All right. So that's how you exemplify. And teach them how to do it by your example. Once again, you guys, we provide ongoing coaching, one-on-one, twice a month for your CSRs, dispatchers, and the coordinators. If you're already coaching with us, that's awesome. Be sure to call your coach and ask about the FAM program. It is a great way to motivate your team and get them excited about what they're doing, gamifying everything inside the department so they're excited to come on Monday and compete. And of course, we also have call handling services for your overflow nights and weekends. So definitely give us give us a call, give us a ring. The best way, in fact, is just to scan this barcode. That'll take you to our website, which there's a link. You can click on the link and schedule a demo with us. Okay, it's a free phone consultation with a PSP expert. We'll identify the unique areas of growth that you need, and we'll customize a plan, a training plan just for you at no obligation to work with us. If any of you just want to reach out to me directly, that's totally fine. That is my cell phone number. Feel free to call me anytime, and I'd be happy to help you with any of your business needs.
I'm going to text you some stuff afterwards.
All right, cool. Can't wait.
Cool. Cool, guys. Well, let's jump into the Q&A session. We've got a couple of questions that we want to address before we hop off. I know it's running over a little bit on time, but I still see a bunch of attendees, on. So let's get into it. Sean, did you want to tee up a question?
Yeah. Brigham, I guess one question, I think there's so many good nuggets to take away here. So sometimes things like this, if it's a new concept, or it can feel almost overwhelming, right? Like and so I think the question is, for someone who's maybe looking at this, it's like, where do I start, right? Where do I start to kind of move my business, my life, my leadership style in this direction?
Start with the vision. Start with a vision, work on your company purpose, refine it. I would get it 80% there, basically to a point where you feel like, you know what, something like this is what I would like. And then what you do is you take it to your team and you say, guys, this purpose is about 80% there. I need you to help me with the remaining 20%. Will you help me fine tune this? And when you do that, you guys, that's how you create ownership on the team for that company purpose. And then you do the same thing with the mission. Guys, this is what I want to accomplish in 3 years or less. What do you think? Once again, it's about 80% there. I need you to help me with to bring it home. And then they tweak it a little bit. And crazy thing, it becomes their own. With core values, again, core values a little bit harder. Just stick with it. Get yourself a pattern for excellence and say, hey, this is how I fire. Okay. We'll have your why. The pattern first. Do that first.
Brigham. Michael says, I'm not.
Yeah.
Says I'm not sure. Vision. What would be the first thing that you would do?
So one more time, not sure on the vision. Maybe look at the chat. Let's see.
Got it through.
Me okay, right? I don't know. Bring it up.
Can you hear me now?
I believe so. It's just there's just a bit of a delay on your end for some reason. Maybe it's on my end too.
Got it. Question is, not sure.
Sean, are you?
Not sure my people believe in. What should I do?
Good question. We need to work on that. We need to sit down with. We need to get present with. Listen to them, see where they're at, and maybe it shouldn't be in a group setting. Maybe it should be one-on-one. One-on-one. Say, hey, this is the company vision. How do you feel about it? Are you as excited about this as I am? If it's not, then you're going to need to get present with them and to listen, to care, reassure them, and maybe even modify it a little bit. But I'd go one-on-one first and then address as a group after you decide what you're going to do. That's probably how I do it. Great question.
Brigham, on the people side, we talked a lot about setting a vision, sort of collaboration, getting everyone rallied around that vision, core values, coaching. I think one component we touch on as much is the hiring variable, right? Getting the right people on the bus. How do you think about hiring and finding the people who, you can scale through?
We used to dabble with this, and companies today, they're a whole lot better than we are. There's a company called Who Hired that we like to use, and they specialize in the cooling industry, and they are very good vetting the types of individuals that we're looking for on our team. I find that if you've got a company full of engaged, passionate people, that there are others that tend to flock to that. There are others that are attracted to that, just naturally. So how do you get it there? Geez, I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it at all. I just hate to sound like a broken record. They need to have a vision, something that's bigger than any one individual. It's got to go beyond the box. This is what we're doing, you guys. This is how we're doing it. This is where we're going. This is where the ship is going. Okay. Money is great, but it's gas. Where's the car going? That's the more important question. Okay. Money's gas. We need money, but we need to know where we're going more. Because what do you need gas for if you don't know where you're going?
Yeah, that's incredible. Incredible feedback. It was an awesome session. Great presentation, Brigham. We're a little over on time, so we're going to wrap it up. Do you have any closing comments, Sean? Anything you want to leave our guests with?
I think I just want to thank Brigham for the sage wisdom. I think I'd highly encourage people to follow up. Brigham is again, lives a life of service. As you can tell, everything is about, thinking about others. And so I would highly encourage people to follow up if they're interested in learning more about his story or Power Selling Pros. And, I think for the remaining audience, continue to send us interesting topics that we can work with Brigham and other folks from the industry on. This series is meant to be as valuable as possible for business owners, right? Completely agnostic to software or anything otherwise. So I think it's really helpful to hear from the experts themselves and hardcore operators like Brigham. So thanks.
Awesome. My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, everyone. I'm going to leave you with a final thought. Next month's guest is Brandon Brown from Brown's Heating and Cooling. He's going to join us to talk about how to scale your HVAC business with a 5-star customer service. So if you'd like to join us, there's going to be a lot of great content. He's going to give away his recently published book for free. So please scan this QR code, and we'll see you next month. Cheers, guys.